in agriculture, you know who to meet. And if you want fine dining, if your taste bud is bougie, you know who to meet right here. So please, one more time, a round of applause for them for pitching their ideas. At this moment, we will call the representative of Bank of Industry to come and speak to us 10 minutes.
With the exception of the trading and the young lady doing wildlife business, BOI has funds that can support all the businesses. I just wanted to give us a brief background of BOI because I'm very sure a lot of us here don't know about BOI. BOI was established in the year 2021 following the reconstruction of the Nigerian Industrial Development Bank, NIDB, which has been in existence since 1964. Bank of Industry is one of the largest, not only the largest, but the oldest development finance institution, not only in Nigeria, but in the continent of Africa. So, but I'm very sure that most people don't know that there's a bank, a federal government bank called Bank of Industry. The bank has a core value of providing financial assistance to the establishment of large, medium, and small scale enterprises, as well as the expansion, diversification, and modernization of the existing industries. We also rehabilitate the ailing industries or the ailing businesses. So all that you need to do is to have the idea. It has often been said that business is always all about capital. But I tell you today that business is all about the idea. Source of funding has never been the issue, but the problem has always been the idea. And traditionally, we are made to understand that business is all about maximization of profit. But far from that, the focus has been shifted from there. Because if you're out to make profit, sooner than later, you'll be taken out of the market. So business is all about primarily providing solution. Because if you identify a problem and you're able to provide a solution to that problem, you will stay in that market for a very long time. Because you are the only person who has solution to that problem. I like the idea of that wildlife, animal farming. It is something very strange to all of us. And I want to believe that there are few players in that market. And I want to believe that she will continue to ensure that monopoly for a very long time. Yeah, we may have laughed and then we may have asked a lot of questions as to how can someone be farming, wildlife, especially things like lion and snakes. But this is a solution. She has identified a problem or a gap, and she's providing that solution. So in Bank of the Industry, we provide funding for not only existing business, but for business that are ailing, for business that are facing challenges. We are more like a doctor. We come to your business, identify your problem, of which I believe most of this problem is lack of funding. You see people with capacity, the market is there, but they don't have the capacity in terms of, expanding their businesses to meet up with the demand. So BOI provides funding for all kinds of businesses, except trading. We don't do trading. We are more focused on value addition, manufacturing, processing, and we do even logistics. IT is one of the most emerging, industry. We also support people that are into IT and ITC. So at Bank of Industry, we have our product and services is small scale, funding, medium and large scale funding. And in the country, we have a lot of product. I will just mention some of the few special products that we have. We have a product we call the Dangote. You can access up to 20 million at 5% interest per annum. If we are very much aware of the NPR, that's the rate at which central bank lend to commercial banks. Central bank lend to commercial bank at 16% per annum. That's the NPR, the current NPR. But Bank of Industry has funds, the highest that we can lend, our highest rate is 13%, and that's for working capital. And the minimum tenure that Bank of Industry can lend to any project or any customer is 3 years. And this is one most important aspect that sets us apart from commercial bank. Because commercial bank will lend to you at a very high interest rate. At the same time, the tenure is very small. But the minimum that we can lend to you is 3 years. We can give you 5 million, repayable in 4 years, 5 years, and even 6 years, as the circumstances may suggest. We also have a fund. Unfortunately, Plateau is not part of it. We call it the Northeast Rehabilitation Fund. This fund is, we lend this fund at 0% interest. And you can access up to 20 million naira. All the Northeast regions, benefit from this fund, with the exception of Plateau, but we are making case for Plateau. And we believe, sooner than later, Plateau will be part of those that will benefit from this one. And the security for this, we are not asking for collateral, for anything. All that we are asking is 2 external guarantors. And they must be civil servants or someone who has a registered business is qualified to be your guarantor. Or a professional like an engineer, a doctor, lawyer, and even clergyman can be your guarantor. This is the only security arrangement under that fund. The additional security is what we call the 10% equity contribution. That's you bring 10% of the amount you are assessing. For example, if you are assessing 5 million, you bring 10% of that 5 million, which is 500, and that money is still your money. We open an account in our microfinance bank, deposit that money. At the end of the day, when you liquidate or you fully pay the loan, that amount with all the accrued interest in it will be given back to you. It is more like a cushion, because at some point in time, business might not be doing very well. So we can use part of that money to as well pay or to cover up for the moment that your business is not able to generate enough revenue to pay for that month. Another important aspect of BOI funding is what we call moratorium. It's more like a grace period. We don't lend you money after we disburse the money in July, and then we ask you to commence repayment of that money in July or next month. We give you a minimum of 6 months before you commence repayment. In some cases, we give up to a year. That allows you to settle in your business and then generate enough revenue so that repayment won't become an issue. That's one thing you don't get anyway. And the rates, our interest rate, you can't get anyway. For our time loan, these are bigger facilities, maybe like $1 billion and above. You pay the interest of 10% per annum. That means if you're giving 1 million naira in the whole year, you're not going to pay up to 100,000 naira as interest, because our interest is on reducing balance. As you're paying your principal, the interest kept dropping, unlike what you have in a commercial bank. And there are no any bogus charges, what commercial banks are doing. So if you have any business and your problem is funding, you're sure of the ideas, you have business plan, that is convincing, or any bankable proposal, you can approach Bank of Industry. We are up and doing, and we are always there for you. The problem is that most people don't know Bank of Industry, and most of the time, we have this notion that you have to know somebody before you apply it and before you get the money. The problem is this: when you come to Bank of Industry, we give you a requirement, and I can assure you, without knowing anybody anywhere in the bank or in the political space, if you can meet those requirements, believe me, I can assure you, you're going to get this money. Nobody is going to stand on your way. So the only thing that will stop you from getting or benefiting from this funding opportunity is when you're not able to meet those requirements. Okay, like the requirement I've just highlighted. For the Northeast or the Elgote, you bring 2 external guarantors. At the end of the day, somebody may not be able to bring this guarantor. Another requirement might be, he may have met other requirements. But this is a fundamental aspect of that scheme. So if you're not able to provide that, the bank cannot do anything about that. We have not gotten to a level where we can lend based on, what we call ideas. In the advanced country, financial institutions can lend you money even without any collateral. So, but we have not gotten to that level. And I want to believe that we will get to that level. So, all the business, that we'll discuss here, and then some of you that have any business idea, you can approach Bank of Industry. And I can assure you that there are a lot of funding opportunity. We also have the mining, a particular fund. There is a mark specially for people who are into mining. And that money is at 5% per annum. That's the interest rate, 5%. 1 million, you're only paying 50,000. And like I explained, the interest is on reducing balance. As you're paying the principal, the interest rate will keep going down. So that 5%, you may not end up paying up to 50,000 naira as interest. It may be less than that, maybe 35,000 or not even up to that. And then we also have funds for people that are into rice, rice mining. The only thing we don't do is direct farming, because Bank of Agriculture has that mandate. Our mandate is mainly for those who are into production, manufacturing, processing, value addition and whatever. We also finance things like poultry. I think these are the only agricultural area that we do. Fish farming, poultry. We do rice processing and milling. We do it even on a smaller scale, like 2 million. So I'm calling upon those who have business ideas to utilize this opportunity. Approach Bank of Industry, like I said, get their requirement, and then look at this requirement. If there are things you can meet, then go ahead. Believe me, nobody is going to stop you from benefiting from any of these, funding opportunities. Thank you.
Please, do you have an office in Jos already? Because a few years ago, I was told Bauchi is where you manage your businesses from. The second question, do you give loans to cooperatives? You know what I mean? Please, those are my 2 questions. Thank you.
Start business before you apply for the loan.
Please, I want to know, after due diligence, maybe meeting of the requirements, how long will it take for someone to access the loans from your bank? Thank you.
For approval, from first day you submit your applications, and let's assume you have 100% documentation. Now you may have met every requirement. Our approvals, in most cases, usually take nothing less than 2 weeks, or maximum, you can say 3 weeks. Then after approval, there's what we call pre-approval, post-approval requirement. Like when we approve your loan, we have to give the offer letter, and you have to endorse the offer letter, and then write a letter to the effect that you've accepted our offer, and then there could be 1 or 2 requirements that you ought to have met. So I can say, once your loan has been approved, disbursement is subject to how timely you are able to meet the post-approval requirement. But approval is maximum of 3 weeks if you're very sure you've met our requirement 100%. And then for our office, like you said, you rightly said, we usually, in the last 3 years, there was no office in Plateau, but I can assure you that we have office in Plateau now. One of the irony of Bank of England is that even when the office, Bauchi is our regional office, so I discovered that most of the businesses were actually coming from Plateau. So I don't know if it might be political, the office was actually in Bauchi. So today we have office in Bauchi. I actually forgot that there was what other question?
Yeah, do you give to cooperatives now?
Yes, we also extend our funding opportunity to cooperatives, but we are more focused on individuals because sometimes it's difficult to deal with cooperative, so we focus mainly on individuals. Thank you.
Registration.
Yes, of course. I forgot to mention this fundamental requirement. Before we initiate any kind of relationship with you, you have to register your business with the CAC. And for those, having a limited liability company, you also have to ensure that your tax, your TCC are up to date. Your annual filing, you have to file you have to ensure that all your CCD documentation are okay. Very important. And I would like to advise at this juncture that if you are actually doing business on a very smaller scale, it's important that you start with an enterprise. Because the people, you discover that people that are doing business on a very minute level will start with limited liability. And the disadvantage of limited liability is that it has a lot of legal, implication. So it's good that if you are operating at a very small level, start with an enterprise so that you'll be exempted from so many legal, complications. Thank you. The address, our address is number 16 Richard Road off Murtala Mohammed. If you know this office, the VIO office in Terminus, the VIO office, yes, around UTC. Once you're there, you can ask anybody of the industry office, and they will tell you. Thank you.
Direct this question.